Can you tell me what happened here?
Well, we had a massive flood, highest flood on record, and it's inundated a lot of areas, not only just Lismore, but also Woodburn, Broadwater, and Wardell, and it's also gone up in the Tuck End as well. So it's been all over this flood. And fortunately, it's gone through a lot of houses. There's probably thousands of houses where water's gone through, and of course there's huge layers of mud through there.
How deep was the water going through the town?
Depends where. Some places up to the roof. Other places it might be just a couple of feet through the house. Other times it might be just chest deep through the house. But nevertheless, any water in the house makes a huge mess.
The aftermath, I mean, that was one thing. Did you have any rescues that you had to do?
There were rescues, probably more so in Lismore.
But not here in Wardell?
I don't know what's been happening here in Wardell as far as rescues for it. Down here in the town or in the water wasn't as deep as some places. But yeah, very lucky people who were able to get out as, by the depth of the floodwater.
So now we're in the clean-up. What's happening here? What sort of communities come together? Who are the volunteers?
Well, they're great. Volunteers that come from all over the place, from Ballina and businesses are donating things, making up equipment to come down here. We've got a team called the Squidgy team who's been following us around before, and they're back down here again. We've got a whole heap of other volunteers around that have just turned up and want to help, so we've assigned them out to jobs with fire trucks. So fire trucks are out there, and they're moving furniture, they're pulling up carpets, they're hosing out buildings, and these volunteers are out there helping as well. They're trying to get the water out of the houses, and so it's a huge group effort.
I noticed a lot of young women in this.
There's a lot of young women, probably more young women than young men, which is quite amazing. Particularly it was International Women's Day yesterday, so.
They're fantastic. I mean, I've noticed them through the town there, and just mucking in and getting the job done.
Yeah, and you can see by the fact that they're just all covered in mud that they don't care, they just want to get in and help.
Fantastic. So you've got a lot more to go.
Yeah, this is going to go on for weeks. Okay. And there's a lot of people homeless too, that's the other thing. They won't be able to get in those houses for ages, everything's been ripped out of the houses, all the furniture, carpets, everything else. The electricity's been disconnected because you can't have power on because water's gone everywhere. So a lot of times the lining's got to come off the walls, particularly gyprock. So it's going to be a long time before people can actually move back into their houses.
What sort of message would you have for the broader Australian community?
Well, we really need a plan. We need to, particularly government, to have emergency action plans and be ready to respond straight away when something like this happens. And we need accommodation for people. I just don't know where people are going to stay at the moment. And as far as the damage goes, who picks it up? These people won't be able to, who've been flooded, won't be able to get insurance anymore. Some are insured now, but they won't get insurance in future because they're now in a flood zone. And the insurance will be very, very astronomical. So, it basically comes down to the people to fix up their own houses.
Has there been a bit of a slow reaction from government agencies?
As normal, yeah. It always seems to be a slow reaction. Yeah, I'm afraid governments need to get their act together. They need to get, plans and work to those plans. We need really all government departments should be, they've all got government workers who are on the payroll. They really need to put them into flood response and get them. They've got boats, they've got tractors and trucks and everything else. All that could be used, and we could use it right now.
Are there people still needing to be rescued?
I don't think so. There's no doubt people still isolated. Some of them have got medical issues, and they can't get out. There's people with medical appointments, they can't get to them. They can't get to chemist shops to get prescriptions filled, etc. I mean, the other thing, there's dead cows floating down the river. There's dead cow caught out here. We need them unsnagged and sort of pulled their way. On Cabbage Tree Island, there's a lot of dead cows out there. There's a big Aboriginal community. Those houses aren't livable anymore.
Cabbage Tree Island?
Yeah.
There's an Aboriginal community?
Yeah, Aboriginal community on Cabbage Tree Island.
How did they go?
That way. Water went right through there.
Did they survive? The people?
Oh yeah, they apparently
People
got
got
out. There's been a strike team up there today, but they said there's a lot of work to do there before they can.
Nobody was hurt.
I don't think so. Don't think so, but I don't know for sure.
Okay, that's important.
All the flood waste is coming from Wardell, Ballina, Lismore. It's all going up to the Gap Road quarry at Austinville.
Okay.
Like I just come from there a minute ago, and there'd be a line-up of probably 80, maybe 90 trucks in a line waiting to be tipped off of just flood waste. It is just unbelievable.
What have you seen around the district? You know, people coming together.
Unbelievable. It is just unbelievable. Even just here, I was here last Saturday,
Yeah.
and the people just walking up to traffic controllers just asking where can they go to help. It was just unbelievable.
It's a good Aussie spirit.
Real good Aussie spirit.
So me and my platoon, we're here in town to essentially support the population. So we've gone around delivering hampers to residents in the outer reaches of Wardell. We've also been handing out water and food. Yesterday we cleared out the school and really assisting recovery efforts. So Defence is here to really make sure that, you know, the disaster itself is starting to transition from that initial disaster into recovery. So we're here to start to help people start getting back up on their feet. My men in here, we're all infantrymen, so we've been doing trying to do as much heavy lifting, throwing out of rubbish, handing out of food, and just making sure people are okay. Because there's a lot of aspects to recovery besides the material things that go out. So at the moment we've got some guys here helping the town, and I've also got some guys that have gone across the bridge and they're going up towards Empire Vale and checking out the farms and the properties out there.
Okay. What did you find when you first came here on the first day?
Well, the water was still up past the school the first day, and they just start to lift the gear out, and it was a bit like this the first few houses. So the main street we've probably cleaned 4 times because people are coming, because there was no one in town, because all the houses were underwater, and as the houses have come out, people have come back and they just keep putting all the stacks of rubbish up. So we just go backwards and forwards up this one street. We've been here since Saturday. It's now Wednesday, yeah? So 5 days we've just been in this one street. And we're just running out of space, and this houses are over the other side there where we haven't even been able to get in yet.
Across the river?
No, here.
Yeah.
Because the driveways that go between other houses, and the silt on the ground's like 3 inches thick, so we're going to have to go and clean the driveway so we can get in. And there's 2 or 3 houses down the little alleyways that we've got to get to. Everybody who's been all wants to do something, but there's that many coming. There's not enough jobs for them because the water's still up in certain spots. Now it's a different story. You'll be able to get in, but when we go over the south on the other side of the river, it's going to be mayhem because the houses are all scattered, and every one of them was under.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a slow process.
Okay.
But the biggest problem we've had is the rubbish. We've been taken out of Ballina Tip to put up to Alstonville Quarry. Now the quarry's taken Lismore's stuff as well. It's a 3/4 of an hour wait to get it in with a truck. Trucks are banked up back to Alstonville along Tevan Road. So we're going to have to find another site just locally here where we can just dump it and then cart it out again.
I think you just feel a bit of a responsibility. Like, we only live an hour up the road, and if the tables were turned, these would be the people that would be out helping us. So you can't really just sit around while the people around you are suffering.
A little bit closer so I can get the sound a bit better. So you just decided to spontaneously to come on down?
I think we probably saw a lot of posts from people that we knew, or organisations on the Gold Coast who were saying that they were organising like groups to go down. So we just kind of joined with one on Monday and then it went from there.
Fearless.
Not quite.
Oh, I mean, are you part of the Squidgy crew?
What?
I heard you talked about a Squidgy crew.
No, I don't know what that is. We should
start our own.
Yeah, we'll start our own.
Pulling out the carpets.
Yeah.
We were just pulling out carpets.
Are you pulling out carpets?
We were.
Really? What sort of work have you been doing? I've obviously been in the mud.
Just literally picking anything up that was just covered in mud and taking it out. So like rugs that were on the ground, picking those up, and then just had water still all through them.
All the furniture too that's
Yeah.
completely waterlogged and falling apart.
Yeah, just everything.
Pretty much-
Everything and anything. Just opening new doors, and there was just like another whole room that was just covered in mud and flood. So
We were actually saying that before, like just before you came over, about like, because we've been in people's houses and we don't want to take photos of people's houses, but like you can't really explain to people how bad it is inside the houses until you actually see it. So we were like, maybe we should take some photos, get the word out. But it's hard because you don't want to just, this is people's homes, you don't want to post it all over the internet. So it's a bit of a catch-22. Anyway, it's very, very bad.
I know, I peeked in a couple of houses and I thought, oh my God.
I know, I've never seen anything like
It's,
it.
you know, because it's dark, it's messy, it's smelly.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like danky water that's just been sitting in a house for like a week.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for what you do. I'll be back.
Well, we had a 1 in 1,000 year flood. Pretty massive disaster that put the house in 4 metres of water right under the power box. 2.5 metres over the biggest flood we've ever had in this town in 30 years. And we've lost everything. I've got amazing friends here helping, us clean up, and now we've got to try and work out how to get back on our feet. And look, the Aussie spirit is to do that, and we'll do it. But
What's the spirit been like in the town?
oh, amazing! Like, it's actually one of the reasons why I haven't sort of broken down so much, is because you walk out there, you got people giving you socks, food, the most amazing support. And I tell you what, it makes you proud to be an Aussie. It's one of the most amazing things. You walk around the corner, you've got everything, and it's all charity. The army have been amazing. I'll give it to the government for doing that, getting in and getting, we had 30 guys here lifting a pile of rubbish up to the rail, and those guys have done every house. So you can see them over there now, going through every house, and that's the special part. But we've got to fight the insurance companies now, and we live in the Northern Rivers, and you can buy a house here, and you can pay your stamp duties and your taxes, but you can't get flood insurance. And I know that's what we wanted to talk about today, is how you can buy a house with trees around you and it can burn down, and you can get fire insurance, but you live next to a river and you can't get flood insurance. So these are all the things that we have to deal with now, and we don't have insurance. We couldn't afford the flood insurance. It's nearly double our mortgage. So what we pay a month here in mortgage, the insurance is more than that. So you're paying 2 mortgages to live near a river. How's that work? You know, and I asked the insurance, you know, like, yeah, so.
What's the most outstanding thing you've seen in this whole situation?
I'll tell you what I've seen that was amazing is this community. Like, I moved to this community from Sydney, and I moved my family up here because we wanted a coastal rural life, you know, a change. We wanted to fit back into a community. You don't get that in the cities. You get a loss of community in the cities because they're too big and people don't want to say hello to you, and people don't want to, you know, you can't go to someone's door and ask for sugar or milk like the old days. And this is an old Australian culture up this way, and that's why we moved up here. And that's what we've seen through adversity here. But you know, we've been here 5 years now. It's been an amazing little town, and the people are amazing. But I'll tell you, just to go and answer your question, the most amazing thing we saw is, you know, there was no help here. You know, at 11 o'clock at night on the Monday night, there was no help to rescue people. You know who got in boats and rescued people is the locals. You know, they're all fishermen here, and they all love their estuaries and rivers and fish. And if it wasn't for those guys, there would be 100 people dead in this town, possibly double that more. And you know, to those guys, and they're all my mates, you know, that's pretty special. They saved lives here, and that needs to be recognised. That's what I want. That's what I would like to see, the recognition of all those guys. And it's going to happen. You know, there's a town about to put on a celebration, and all those guys, they don't want money, they don't want all the riches and medals and stuff. They don't want anything. But we want to recognise them. You know, like the SES get recognised, and all those emergency services, they get recognised. And these guys in every town, Wardell, Broadwater, there's a crew of all these guys that did all that. You know, these guys didn't just rescue people around here. They took off on a boat and went to places like Riley's Hill. It takes you 15 minutes by car on a freeway doing 110 to get to these places. They went in the dark and in dinghies to rescue people. So yeah, there's some amazing stories. That's what I want. That's the recognition I want. And the recognition from insurance companies, you know. You know, we'll lose a generation of people in these rural towns if we don't get looked after. No one wants a freebie, you know. We don't want anything but just what, you know, what we deserve. And we pay our taxes and we pay our insurances, and you know, there needs to be a regulation of how you can protect your investment property or your property or where you live. You know, this house is built in 1984, and it's, you know, it was built by a couple of hippies, and they did a great job. But it's you know, we can't handle 4 metres of water for a week soaking your house. You know, how are we meant to live in it, fix it?
What sort of work do you normally do?
I'm a handyman.
You're a handyman. Well, your skills are going to be needed right now.
Yeah, well, that's right. And look, I'll be there, and we'll do it all and stuff. But you know, I've lost my livelihood. My ute went under in 3 or 4 metres of water. All my tools are in there, so we'll rebuild all that. And yeah, so. But at the moment, I don't feel like doing that. I feel like going and getting an office job.
The most striking thing, every single house that we've gone to, it's absolutely devastating. The amount of personal belongings, sentimental value to every single item and piece of furniture in there. It's very striking. It's very full on, and I feel deeply for every single person affected by these floods. We're doing the best we can, and we are very, very happy to be able to help. But we know that at the same time, while we're taking these things out, it's very, very painful for each member of the community that we're helping. So it's quite a confronting sight.
Yeah, no one's told me to come. I just see people in need, and they need to get their, they need to keep their energy, don't they?
So where are all your supplies coming from?
They're coming from my back pocket. and some of the supplies are coming from the lovely people of the universe, but predominantly predominantly myself. Good, I find it very, very rewarding. You just got to go and take one look at my book out the front and see the amount of love I've received. And
Daniel's owns a pub.
You own the pub, do you?
John owns a pub in Lismore.
John owns a pub in Lismore, which has also been destroyed, and he's down here helping me clean mine.
Daniel's brother flew up from Melbourne to give him a hand for a few days. He had friends drive up from Albury, pick up a trailer load of $2,000 worth of cleaning stuff on the way. Just drop anything in. That's amazing. And every day there's different people here.
Every day someone shows
There's
up.
at least 10 of us here every day.
Every day I think we won't have many hands today, and every day there's 15 blokes in here.
Thank girls, thank girls.
Hey girls, don't forget the girls.
It's a bit of a weird feeling. Like you know, everyone around is in pretty good spirits considering what's going on, but at the same time you have this sinking feeling like everything's just ruined. Like there's a lot of people rebuilding their lives, and but there's good camaraderie and everyone's helping each other out and good spirit. But yeah, it's like conflict in your head. Like this is really nice meeting all these great people, but it's under a terrible circumstance.
Yeah.
It's a bit confusing.
Every house, both sides of the street, just piles of cars. And that's everyone's life. Their whole house empty on the front street. It sucks. It's hard to see. But when we've got these, a few days free up on the Gold Coast, better than just sitting around at home doing nothing. Come down here and help people out. Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Happy to help.
Great. Well, thank you.
No worries.
Thank you.
How high did the water get here?
Would it went onto that, nearly up to the top eave there. So way above the windows.
Wow.
And we're on the roof.
What happened to you guys? How did you
We
get
just
out?
had to, I was checking the Lismore siren. We thought it was a fault because the flood levy, as soon as it broke the wall down there, they had the siren on. It went for 5 minutes and died as soon as it broke the wall. So the siren needs to go up another 2 foot.
Yeah.
As well, they build all these flood dams which locks the water in here. It never flooded up here in the 90s. Okay, now they built these walls, we seem to get the bulk of it.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I believe they, instead of building these walls, they should be building flood reserves in between Casino, out in the Nimbin Flats, pushing it out to these reserves for wildlife and fun, like recreational parks. Barbecuing areas. Flood dams are just holding the water in. So council have got something that's, especially with the siren, the council have got something to answer for.
How did you get out of it? How did you get out of this situation?
I had a mate that knew where I lived.
Yeah.
SES let us all down. I had a mate come down the street. He knew I lived down here, and he's just checking, and he ended up seeing us up on the roof.
That's been the biggest thing. People helping people.
Yeah, it's not government.
Yeah, it's just the Aussie way and the way things, the Aussie spirit kicking in, and mates helping mates. It's just great. And mates, but people helping people they don't even know. Yeah, that's the most outstanding thing.
we've had 2 years of being divided and separated and COVID issue, and this just seems to be out the window.
This has not broken the Aussie spirit at all. This flood has brought people together, and we're so focused on good news stories, not the bad news stories, they're there, we know, but the good news stories, and that's been people helping people, and yeah, that's the Aussie spirit, and it's alive and well.
That's what I've missed. You know what I've missed at the moment? The spots. You're getting all this food that's coming and they make it all so bland and sort of whoa, that's plenty. Thank you, Sandy. Thank you.
Giving you to add the spice back.
Yes, that's what we need. We need a little bit of spice.
Yeah.
Whoa. Can we bring you some tomorrow? We'll be back down this way.
This is so good.
Just a good time or earlier or this week, right? Fantastic. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, look, the community really got behind what we were doing down here. So I think they're the unsung heroes. Personally, I think the people that donate their time, their own money to come down and help us, that's what you've got to sort of put the thanks for. There was nothing but good stories down here.
Good.
On our little patch here.
On our island.
On our island, we'll call it. The Field and Flower and Duncan Island.
We just had good humans just helping us, and we helped them.
Jared's last name?
Waters.
Jared Waters. He was excellent running up and down, took time off work, paid his own fuel in his boat, just run up down, supplies, there was millions of them, I don't know the names of the others. Well, not millions, dozens.
Just trying to help.
The vets did an excellent job, and all the neighbours, everyone sort of just banding together.
Yeah.
I probably had a little bit more experience with livestock, so I was a bit more involved with looking after livestock.
Yes.
Yeah, and it went well for us.
Exactly.
David Rastovich, who's another big name surfer, he come over. Dave, nice bloke, he come over. We've been watching his movies for forever, or video clips forever. So they were good enough just to come around in the very start. It was just a swamp. We were just swamped with people trying to help.
Why around this area? What was it?
Well, I think we were the only little island out of water that, when it started to subside, that they could drop things off to us and we could disperse it.
We and the comms, I had people at the other end and saying, hey, can you put this out? We need help, and we were able to get messages out. Yeah. And so we had some keyboard warriors helping us. We've been able to get text in and out. We've had no internet, no Facebook because the tower went to battery. So, but they kept the comms up, so we were able to communicate, and our keyboard warriors just put the message out, and it's been fantastic.
There was no power, no water, no toilets, no showers. That's okay. Yeah. The animals was our main concern, and grade animals come out well. You got.
We didn't lose any.
Didn't lose any. I didn't lose any. The animals were all looking well. Unfortunately, Aaron down the road lost one. We can't do. We tried. For me, probably the most striking thing was the amount of help that come. Yeah, it just was overwhelming. They just bombarded us with help.
Yep.
Yeah, and it wasn't government funded. It was just people out of their own goodwill, wanting to help everyone. I think our first thing, you suggested it, the next morning after the flood was, peaked. The next morning, Grace said, let's go for a run on the boat and see if anyone needs help down the road.
And that was because of the girls up the hill saying they had the internet. They told us, boy, get in the boat.
16-foot boat in. Yeah, and we picked up 7 people within about 2 k's off their brands, off their roofs. So that's just what was happening everywhere.
And they'd gone to Facebook.
My farm doesn't get anywhere near water. I usually have 5 acres, even the 54 flood probably had 5 acres out of flood. I had I was probably about 2 foot under the house before coming into the house, somewhere around that.
So where you're sitting now was underwater?
Yeah, way overhead.
Yeah, up to there.
Yeah, I'm just up the road there.
Yeah,
right up to.
But never been a flood like this before since I've been here. Yeah. I really don't want to see another one.
And the boys did an awesome job. They worked for 48 hours without sleeping and saved all of our animals and all of the neighbours' animals.
Greg was explaining to me like they had something like a Noah's Ark up on the hill.
Oh, they had a complete Noah's Ark, included 2 hares, a fox, horses, cattle, snakes, like 1 cat. a budgie, had everything.
Kangaroos.
Kangaroos, we had 2 kangaroos, dogs.
Yeah.
Had
And
it
you told
all.
me about a fox.
Fox. The fox is beautiful. As much as we all don't like them, that little fox went up the tree house and sat up in the tree house. He just kept looking out at us between the things. So we all decided it was a total truce. So everyone just went, and the stallion wasn't toey, and the fox wasn't chasing the chickens, and it was an arc for 48 hours. Everyone was calm.